Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously captivating astrological concept, one that literally reframes some of life's most isolating moments into absolutely crucial spiritual steps. So picture this. You're in a crowded room, surrounded by friends, colleagues, or family, and yet you feel this overwhelming, inexplicable disconnect. It's not sadness exactly, it's more like a deep, pulling yearn for quiet. If you've ever felt that intense urge to step away from the crowd, or if you've realized your internal world is just way richer and more complex than anything happening outside of it, well, this journey is absolutely for you. Okay, let's dive into this. Are you alone by circumstance or by soul preference? It's a heavy thought, isn't it? Society kind of conditions us to view being alone as a negative state, like it's a lack of something, or a situation that just happens to us against our will. We tend to pity the person eating lunch by themselves. But this concept demands we look a little deeper. What if that isolation is exactly what your soul actually prefers right now? You see, there is a massive energetic difference between unwanted isolation and a deep internal craving for solitary peace. One drains you, while the other is precisely what restores you. So for those of you already familiar with the architecture of a birth chart, you know the 12th house is kind of the final frontier. It's the realm of the unseen, the subconscious, and the ultimate dissolution of the ego. When the south node, Ketu, is placed here, it represents the soul's evolutionary journey toward spiritual liberation, detachment, and profound karmic closure. But let's go beyond the basic textbook definition here. Profound karmic closure isn't just some mystical catchphrase. It actually feels like sweeping up lifetimes of energetic debris. Think of it like the cosmic janitor arriving at the end of a very, very long party. It means you aren't here to build new, glittering worldly empires. You are here to wrap up old business, tie up those loose ends, and prepare for ultimate freedom. Part 1. The Pull of Solitude, Navigating Inner Peace. A really fascinating concept from our research notes that solitude feels strangely familiar and comforting to those with this placement. And you know that intense desire to withdraw from all the relentless social noise? It isn't strange, and it definitely isn't antisocial. We live in this hyper-connected world where constant availability is just the baseline expectation, which makes the desire to pull away feel kind of rebellious. But really, this withdrawal is a highly protective measure for your inner peace. It feels familiar because, on a soul level, returning to the quiet is literally like returning home. It is where you process, heal, and recalibrate without the constant static of everyone else's expectations. So why do you withdraw? Think about your recent habits for a second, especially in the context of the modern pressure to constantly socialize. There is endless FOMO, a barrage of notifications, and the expectation to always be on. When you decline an invite or decide to just stay in on a Friday night, what is the actual root cause behind that choice? Are you running away from an uncomfortable social dynamic, or are you actively retreating toward your own inner sanctuary? Recognizing the intention behind your withdrawal is absolutely the first step in understanding this karmic placement. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive difference between isolating yourself and preserving your energy. Isolating yourself implies a retreat born from fear, depression, or avoidance. It is a closing off of the heart. Preserving your energy, however, that is a deliberate, conscious act of setting boundaries. Under the influence of Ketu in the 12th house, you are essentially building a fortress for your peace of mind. Your energetic reserves are super sensitive and highly permeable. So by stepping back, you aren't shutting the world out in anger. You are carefully managing your energetic budget so you can actually remain grounded in an overwhelmingly loud world. Part 2. Shifting worldly values. The changing external world. Okay, so once that internal fortress is built, your desires in the material world inevitably begin to shift. Our research highlights 3 distinct manifestations of this. First up, a detachment from material success. And hey, this isn't laziness. It's the sudden realization that the big promotion, the luxury car, or the social status feels surprisingly hollow once you actually achieve it. Second, spiritual practices suddenly feel natural. Meditation isn't this tedious chore. It feels as essential and automatic as breathing. And third, engaging in secret acts of service. You might find yourself quietly donating or helping someone in need, making absolutely sure no one knows it was you. For sure, the anonymity is the whole point here. So are you losing interest or are you gaining perspective? Society often views stepping off the corporate ladder or losing the drive to aggressively network as some sort of failure of ambition. You might even question yourself, wondering, where did my competitive edge go? But this dichotomy is crucial. It is not a loss of drive. You are not giving up. Instead, you are gaining a higher, macroscopic perspective on what actually holds lasting, eternal value. The realization hits that the modern rat race is largely an illusion, and your energy is far better spent on pursuits that nourish the spirit rather than the ego. Are you seeking enlightenment or remembering it? There's this philosophical concept of amnesis that suggests true learning is actually just a process of remembering what the soul already knows. And honestly, this perfectly captures why metaphysical and spiritual concepts just click into place so effortlessly for you. When you dive into astrology, meditation, or esoteric studies, it rarely feels like you are straining to learn a difficult brand new skill. Instead, it feels like a profound homecoming. You are simply unlocking the vault of pre-existing knowledge you've been carrying across lifetimes. And going back to those secret acts of service, the research shows it brings an unexpected, profound fulfillment. Just consider the psychology behind this for a second. The human ego naturally feeds on applause, recognition, and public gratitude. But for a soul with Ketu in the 12th house, public recognition actually dilutes the spiritual potency of the act. If you help someone and get a shout out on social media, well, the transaction is complete, the ego got its payment. But when you help anonymously, from the heart, the energy doesn't dissipate into public applause. It stays within, deeply nourishing your soul's need for quiet impact and pure compassion. Let's move to part 3 and see how this builds. Dreams, karma, and horizons, diving into the subconscious. You'll often find that vivid dreams and symbolic messages become incredibly common. For those navigating this energy, sleep is rarely just resting. It is an active, often intense theater of the mind. The subconscious acts as this relentless messenger, delivering insights that your waking mind might be way too distracted or defended to hear. You might experience recurring motifs, perhaps tidal waves of water, returning to childhood homes, or seeing faces of people you haven't thought about in decades. These aren't just the random firings of a tired brain. They are a direct line of communication, actively trying to decode the spiritual lessons you need to process. Have you noticed this happening to you lately? What unfinished chapter keeps revisiting your life? This placement is pretty notorious for bringing hidden karmas bubbling right up to the surface. But how do you actually recognize an unfinished chapter? Well, it usually looks like a repeating pattern. It's finding yourself in the exact same power struggle in 3 different jobs, or attracting the exact same relationship dynamic with totally different partners. These loops don't return to torture you, though. They surface so you can finally break the cycle. By sitting with the discomfort, acknowledging the lesson, and actively choosing a different response, you grant yourself the closure your soul has been practically begging for. Foreign lands can feel more familiar than your birthplace. This is such a beautiful, almost haunting reality for many. You might feel a deep, magnetic wanderlust or a profound homesickness for a country you've literally never even set foot in. But it's worth asking, are you truly searching for a physical location on a map, or are you searching for an elusive state of mind? This astral wanderlust is often a craving for the ultimate foreign land, the spiritual realm. It's just a symptom of the soul feeling a little bit out of place in the dense material world, always looking out toward that distant horizon. Moving on to part 4, the soul's final release, ultimate liberation. So the crucial point here is that losses often redirect you towards spiritual growth. In the moment, losing a relationship, a job, or a long-held dream is deeply, profoundly painful, and we absolutely must completely validate that grief. But zooming out, this dynamic acts as a profound cosmic redirection. This placement just has a way of dissolving what is no longer aligned with your highest good. It is clearing the path. It operates kind of like a spiritual pruning process. The branches are cut back harshly, not to kill the tree, but to force the energy inward, promoting a completely different, much stronger kind of growth. Is life taking away your comfort, or is it revealing your wisdom? The comfortable distractions we cling to, the wrong relationship that feels safe, the soul-sucking job that pays well, the social circles that demand conformity, they often act as blindfolds. When those comforts are subtracted from your life, it hurts, no way around it. But the pain of subtraction is almost always followed by the immense addition of clarity. Without the noise and the safety nets, the ultimate truth of who you are and what you're actually capable of surviving is finally revealed to you. It's brilliant, really. The soul seeks liberation from old attachments and identities. This right here is the philosophical peak of this entire cosmic journey. True freedom isn't about acquiring more power or more money. It's the immense, liberating relief of no longer having to be who society expects you to be. It is shedding those identities you outgrew years ago, the high achiever, the people pleaser, the constant caretaker.
Ketu in the 12th house strips away the ego's resume until all that is left is your raw, unfiltered essence. And that, my friends, is the true meaning of ultimate liberation.
So, what are you finally ready to let go of? Allow that question to echo in your mind long after this explainer ends. Releasing that final attachment, whether it's a grudge, a fear, or an outdated version of yourself, might just be the exact key to your soul's final release. True peace is waiting for you right on the other side of surrender. Thank you so much for diving deep with me today on the explainer. Take care of yourselves and keep reflecting.